Imagine sitting across from someone and realizing that their mouth is saying one thing but their body is whispering something completely different. They smile, but their shoulders are tense. They say, "I'm fine," but their voice drops like a stone. They look you in the eye for a second too long and then suddenly look away. In that moment, something ancient inside you wakes up. You feel it before you understand it, a hidden message, a silent signal, a truth moving beneath the surface, and you wonder, what are they really thinking? The truth is, you cannot literally read someone's mind like a magician pulling secrets out of the air. Psychology is not magic. It is not mind control. It is not a supernatural power, but human beings are never completely silent. Before we dive into this life-changing message, take a moment to pause this video and do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 99. This number will send a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this video. Even when they say nothing, they communicate. Their breathing speaks, their posture speaks, their eyes speak, their pauses speak, their hands, their tone, their timing, their distance, their hesitation, all of it forms a hidden language, and when you learn how to listen to that language, it can feel almost like you are reading minds. But understand this from the beginning. Real psychological insight is not about guessing one random sign and pretending you know someone's soul. It is about observing patterns. It is about noticing changes. It is about seeing the difference between what is normal for that person and what suddenly shifts. One crossed arm does not mean someone is angry. One glance away does not mean someone is lying. One nervous laugh does not mean they are hiding something. The real skill is not in one cue. The real skill is in clusters, several signals happening together at the right time in the right context. So before we begin, remove the fantasy. This is not about becoming dangerous. This is not about manipulating people. This is not about invading someone's privacy. This is about awareness. It is about understanding people more deeply. It is about hearing what is not said, seeing what is not shown, and becoming more emotionally intelligent in a world where most people only listen to words because words are easy to edit. The body is harder to control. Every person has 2 conversations happening at the same time. The first conversation is the one you hear. It is made of sentences, explanations, promises, excuses, jokes, and answers, but the second conversation is the one you feel. It is made of posture, facial tension, eye movement, breathing, vocal tone, silence, and reaction time. Most people only pay attention to the first conversation. That is why they miss so much. They hear the words, but they miss the truth. The first principle of reading people is simple. Do not look for meaning first. Look for change. Everyone has a baseline. A baseline is the way a person naturally behaves when they are relaxed, safe, and not under pressure. Some people naturally speak with their hands. Some people naturally avoid eye contact. Some people naturally sound serious even when they are happy. Some people laugh when they are nervous, and some laugh when they are genuinely amused. So if you judge everyone by the same rule, you will be wrong again and again. The secret is not asking, what does this gesture mean? The secret is asking, why did their behavior change at this exact moment? When someone is calm throughout a conversation, and then suddenly their voice tightens when you mention a certain topic that changes matters. When someone is relaxed, leaning back, making casual eye contact, and then suddenly starts touching their neck when a specific question appears, that shift matters. When someone answers quickly all evening but suddenly pauses for too long before one answer, that moment deserves attention, not accusation, tension. Psychology begins where automatic judgment ends. Most people try to read others by jumping to conclusions. They see someone looking away and think they are lying. They see someone crossing their arms and think they are closed off. They see someone smiling and think they are happy, but the human mind is not that simple. A person may look away because they are thinking. They may cross their arms because they are cold. They may smile because they are trying not to cry. Real observation requires patience. You do not attack the signal. You collect it. Think of yourself as a detective of emotion, not a judge of character. Now let us begin with the body, because the body often reveals what the tongue tries to hide. Body language is the silent architecture of emotion. Before a person speaks, their body has already taken a position. It either moves towards safety or away from threat. It opens or protects. It leans in or withdraws. It expands when confident and contracts when insecure. This is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is very small. A shoulder rises, a jaw tightens, a foot points toward the door. A hand covers the mouth for half a second, but small movements can carry large meanings when they happen in the right moment. When someone feels comfortable with you, their body usually becomes more open. Their shoulders relax. Their hands become visible. Their breathing becomes easier. Their torso may face you more directly. Their feet often point toward you. Their gestures become smoother. There is less protection, less blocking, less stiffness. Comfort creates openness, but when discomfort enters the room, the body often creates barriers. A person may fold their arms, hold an object in front of their chest, turn slightly away, step back, lower their chin, press their lips together, or reduce movement. Again, one cue alone means very little, but when several protective signals appear after a specific question, the emotional temperature has changed. For example, imagine you are talking to a friend. The conversation is easy. They are laughing, leaning forward, relaxed. Then you ask, did something happen between you and him? Suddenly, they look down, their smile disappears, their hands grip their phone, and they say, no, nothing. The word says nothing happened. The body says the topic touched something. That does not prove a lie. Proves sensitivity. This is a crucial distinction. Psychology does not give you permission to accuse people. It gives you permission to notice emotional friction. The question is not, are they lying? The better question is, why did this topic create a reaction? Now look at the hands. Hands are emotional instruments. When people feel safe, their hands tend to be more visible and expressive. They gesture naturally. They show palms. They move with rhythm, but when people feel uncertain, afraid, guilty, defensive, or pressured, their hands may hide, freeze, clench, fidget, rub, pick, tap, or hold on to something. Hands often try to release pressure the mouth refuses to admit. A person rubbing their palms together may be trying to calm themselves. Someone tapping their fingers may be impatient or anxious. Someone hiding their hands under the table may feel guarded. Someone showing open palms may be trying to appear honest or cooperative, but again, context is everything. A confident public speaker may use open palms deliberately. A shy person may hide their hands simply because attention makes them uncomfortable. You are not reading a dictionary. You are reading a living human being. The face is even more complex. The face is where people perform, but it is also where emotion leaks. A real smile usually reaches the eyes. The cheeks rise. The area around the eyes changes. The expression feels warm and connected. A polite smile often stays mostly around the mouth. It appears quickly, disappears quickly, and may not match the eyes. That does not mean the person is fake. It may simply mean they are being socially polite, but when someone smiles while discussing pain, betrayal, fear, or resentment, look carefully. Sometimes people smile not because they are happy, but because they are trying to stay in control. The lips can also reveal pressure. Pressed lips often suggest restraint. It can mean someone is holding back words, disagreement, frustration, or emotion. A tight jaw may indicate anger, stress, or determination. A sudden swallow may reveal tension. A deep breath before answering may mean the person is preparing themselves. None of this gives certainty, but it gives direction. The feet may be the most honest part of the body because people rarely control them consciously. If a person's upper body faces you, but their feet point toward the exit, part of them may want to leave. If their feet bounce repeatedly during a serious topic, there may be nervous energy. If they step back when you move closer, they may need more space. If they lean in with their whole body, they may be interested, engaged, or emotionally present, but the strongest body language cue is not any single movement. It is congruence. Congruence means the words, tone, face, and body all tell the same story. Someone says, "I'm excited," and their eyes brighten, their voice lifts, their posture opens, and their gestures become energetic. That is congruent, but when someone says, "I'm excited," while their voice is flat, their body is still, their face is tense, and their eyes look tired, there is incongruence. Something does not match. Incongruence is where the hidden story begins. Now move from the body to the voice, because tone often reveals emotional truth faster than words. A person can choose their words, but tone carries what they feel about those words. The same sentence can mean love, anger, sarcasm, boredom, fear, or betrayal depending on how it is spoken. "I'm okay" can mean "I'm okay." can also mean I am falling apart, but I do not trust you enough to say it. Fine can mean agreement, can also mean resentment wearing a mask. Listen for changes in pitch, speed, volume, and rhythm. When people feel confident, their voice often becomes steady. When they feel nervous, it may become faster, softer, higher, or more uneven. When they feel defensive, they may speak louder, interrupt more, repeat themselves, or over-explain. When they feel sad, their voice may lose energy. When they feel angry but controlled, their voice may become unusually calm, sharp, and low. Sometimes the most important sound is not speech. It is the pause before speech. Pause can mean many things. It can mean the person is thinking carefully. It can mean they are choosing words. It can mean they are emotionally affected. It can mean they are hiding something. The meaning depends on the pattern. If someone usually takes time to answer, a pause means little, but if they answer everything quickly and suddenly freeze after one question, that question mattered. For example, ask someone, "How was your day?" They answer immediately. Ask, "Did you talk to her?" Suddenly, silence, a breath, a small laugh. Then why? That pause may say more than the answer. Another powerful vocal cue is over-explaining. When someone gives far more detail than necessary, they may simply be expressive, but sometimes over-explaining happens because the person is trying to convince you before you even doubt them. They add extra facts, repeat the same point, bring unrelated details, and work too hard to sound believable. The mind under pressure often tries to build a wall of words, but silence can also be a wall. Some people protect themselves by talking too much. Others protect themselves by saying almost nothing. They answer with maybe, "I don't know, whatever," or "it's fine." These words may not be answers. They may be shields. When someone becomes vague around a specific topic, the vagueness itself becomes information. Pay attention to emotional mismatch. If someone tells a painful story with no emotional change, either they have processed it deeply, or they are disconnected from it, or they are hiding the impact. If someone laughs while describing something serious, it may be a coping mechanism. If someone sounds angry while saying they are not angry, believe the tone before the sentence. The tone is often the emotional fingerprint of the thought. Now let us speak about the eyes, because the eyes fascinate people more than any other part of mind reading, but this is where you must be careful. Many people believe myths about eye movement. They think looking left means lying, looking right means remembering, looking up means imagination, and so on. Real human behavior is not that simple. Eye movement is not a lie detector. Anyone who tells you they can detect lies only by watching the eyes are selling a fantasy, but the eyes do reveal attention, emotion, comfort, and mental load. When someone's eyes soften, they may feel safe. When their eyes harden, they may feel threatened, angry, or guarded. When they avoid eye contact suddenly, the topic may be uncomfortable. When they stare intensely without natural blinking, they may be trying to dominate, convince, or control the impression. When they blink more during pressure, they may be stressed. When their gaze keeps moving toward an exit, phone, door, person, or object, their attention may be pulled there. Eye contact is powerful, but it is also deeply personal. Some cultures use direct eye contact as confidence. Others may see too much eye contact as disrespectful or aggressive. Some people naturally avoid eye contact because they are shy, anxious, neurodivergent, tired, or simply thinking. So never treat eye contact as a universal truth. Treat it as a change from baseline. What matters is not whether someone looks into your eyes. What matters is when they stop. Imagine a person speaks comfortably while discussing normal topics. They look at you, smile, and respond naturally. Then you mention a name and their eyes quickly drop. Their body stills. Their voice becomes smaller. That shift is meaningful. The eyes may not tell you exactly what they think, but they show that the mind moved somewhere. Eye direction can also reveal where attention goes. If someone repeatedly glances at their phone, they may be waiting for something or wanting to escape the conversation. If someone keeps looking at another person in the room before answering, they may be seeking approval or fearing that person's reaction. If someone looks at your mouth while you speak, they may be intensely focused, attracted, or trying to understand you better. If their eyes scan the room during your story, they may be distracted, uncomfortable, or disengaged. The eyes are not windows to the soul in a mystical, literal sense. They are windows to attention, and attention is one of the closest things we have to think. Now let us bring these cues into real life. Suppose you are in a conversation with someone you care about. You ask, "Are you upset with me?" They say, No, but their arms remain folded, their lips are pressed, their eyes do not meet yours, and their voice is flat. The beginner says, "You're lying." The skilled observer says, "Your words say no, but something feels heavy. Did I do something that bothered you?" See the difference? One response attacks, the other opens a door. That is the ethical use of psychological observation. You do not use cues as weapons. You use them as invitations. Here is another example. You are negotiating with a client. They say, "The price is okay," but as soon as you mention the price, they lean back, tighten their mouth, and stop asking questions. Their words say yes, but their body says hesitation. A poor salesperson pushes harder. A skilled communicator slows down and says, "Let me make sure this feels right for you. Is the pricing the main concern, or is there something else you want clarified?" In that moment, you are not reading their mind. You are reading the resistance before it becomes rejection. Another example, you are talking with a friend who says, "I don't care anymore," but their voice shakes slightly. Their eyes become wet. They laugh too quickly. Their hands keep moving. They do care, maybe more than they want to admit. The sentence is armor. The body is the wound beneath it. Human beings often say what protects them, not what reveals them. That is why reading people requires compassion. The goal is not to expose them. The goal is to understand the hidden pressure behind their behavior. Now let us discuss one of the most powerful psychological skills: listening for what people repeat. People repeat what matters. They may repeat a fear, a justification, a complaint, a desire, or a wound. A person who keeps saying, "I'm not jealous," may be fighting jealousy. A person who keeps saying, "I don't need anyone," may be protecting themselves from needing someone. A person who repeatedly says, "I'm not angry," while their tone grows sharper, may be angry at being seen. Repetition is emotional gravity. The mind circles what it has not resolved. Also notice what people avoid. Avoidance is a map. When someone answers every question except one, that missing answer matters. When someone changes the subject whenever a certain name appears, that name has weight. When someone jokes every time emotions come up, humor may be their escape route. When someone becomes intellectual instead of emotional, analysis may be their defense. Some people hide pain behind jokes. Some hide fear behind anger. Some hide love behind distance. Some hide insecurity behind arrogance. Psychology teaches you to look beneath the costume, but never assume you know the full story. You may only be seeing the edge of it. To read people well, you must combine three things: observation, context, and verification. Observation shows you the signal. Context tells you what the signal might mean. Verification checks whether your interpretation is true. Most people fail at the third step. They observe something, invent a story, and believe it immediately. That is not psychology. That is projection. Real insight requires humility. You notice, you form a possibility, then you gently test it. Instead of saying, "You are nervous," say, "You seem a little tense when this topic comes up." Instead of saying, "You are lying," say, "Something about that feels difficult to talk about." Instead of saying, "You don't like me," say, "I feel some distance between us. Am I reading that wrong?" This approach keeps the conversation human. It gives the other person room to clarify. The best readers of people are not the most suspicious. They are the most present. Presence means you are not just waiting for your turn to speak. You are watching, listening, and feeling the rhythm of the interaction. You notice when energy rises and when it falls. You notice when someone becomes alive and when they disappear inside themselves. You notice what topics create light in their face and what topics close them down. This is how you begin to understand motivation. Every person is moving toward something or away from something, toward approval, away from shame, toward security, away from rejection, toward control, away from helplessness, toward love, away from abandonment. When you understand what someone is moving toward and what they are avoiding, their behavior starts to make sense. The person who constantly brags may be moving away from feeling invisible. The person who controls every detail may be moving away from fear. The person who pushes people away may be moving away from the pain of being left first. The person who pleases everyone may be moving toward safety through approval. The person who acts indifferent may be protecting a heart that cares too much. What looks like personality is often protection. This is where the skill becomes deeper than body language. You are watching emotional strategy. You are asking, what does this person need to feel safe? What are they afraid will happen? What do they want me to believe about them? What truth are they hiding from themselves? That is the doorway into real psychological reading. Now let us talk about microreactions. A microreaction is a small, fast emotional response that appears before the person controls themselves. It may be a flash of irritation, a flicker of fear, a quick smile, a tiny wince, a glance, a sudden inhale, or a facial tension that disappears almost instantly. These moments are powerful because they often appear before the social mask returns. For example, you compliment someone's competitor, and for half a second their face tightens before they smile. That flash may show envy, insecurity, or dislike. You mention an opportunity, and their eyes widen before they act casual. That flash may reveal interest. You bring up a mistake and they laugh immediately, but their face first shows pain. That flash may reveal shame. Microreactions do not tell the whole truth, but they reveal emotional sparks. The fire may be small, but it is real. One of the best ways to read someone's mind psychologically is to observe what gives them energy. People reveal themselves through animation. When a topic matters, their body wakes up, their voice gains rhythm, their eyes sharpen, their gestures become alive. They may lean forward without noticing. They may speak more vividly. Their words become more specific. A person may say they want a certain life, but watch what energizes them. They may claim they do not care about recognition, but their whole face changes when they are praised. They may say they are over someone, but their energy shifts whenever that name appears. They may say they hate a dream, but their voice becomes alive when they describe it. Energy reveals value. Another way to read people is to notice their emotional reaction to other people's success. Someone who is secure can usually admire without shrinking. Someone who is insecure may minimize, mock, compare, or become silent. Their reaction to success tells you where they feel lacking. Their reaction to someone else's happiness may reveal their own hunger, but again, do not judge too quickly. Everyone has wounds. Everyone has weak moments. Reading people should make you more careful, not crueler. Now let us discuss practical examples in everyday situations. In friendship, watch consistency. A true friend's words and behavior usually move in the same direction. They may be busy, tired, or imperfect, but their pattern shows care. If someone says they value you but repeatedly ignores your pain, disappears when you need support, and only appears when they need something, their behavior is speaking louder than their words. Psychology teaches you to trust patterns, not promises. In relationships, watch emotional safety. When a person feels safe with you, they become more honest over time. Their body relaxes. Their communication becomes clearer. They can disagree without attacking. They can be vulnerable without performing, but if someone constantly hides, deflects, mocks, or turns every concern back on you, their behavior may indicate fear, immaturity, guilt, or avoidance. You do not need to read their mind to understand the pattern. In business, watch hesitation around commitment. When people are interested, they ask specific questions. They discuss details. They imagine next steps. They invest attention. When they are not interested, their responses become vague. They delay. They say, "I'll think about it," but ask nothing meaningful. They become polite but distant. The mind has already moved away before the mouth officially says no. In conflict, watch the nervous system. Some people become loud when threatened. Some become silent. Some become sarcastic. Some become overly logical. Some cry. Some leave. These reactions are not always manipulation. Often, they are survival responses. When you understand someone's conflict pattern, you can stop misreading their defense as their true identity. A silent person may not be careless. They may be overwhelmed. An angry person may not be powerful. They may be scared. A cold person may not be emotionless. They may be trying not to break. This is why psychological reading must be paired with emotional maturity. Now, the question becomes, how do you train this ability? First, observe without interrupting. Most people miss cues because they are mentally preparing their next sentence. Slow down. Watch the person as a whole. Notice their face, voice, breathing, hands, posture, and timing. Do not stare like a machine. Just become present. Second, establish the baseline. Talk about neutral topics first. See how they behave when the stakes are low. How do they normally speak? How much eye contact do they naturally use? Do they gesture often? Do they pause before answering? Do they laugh easily? Once you know they're normal, you can detect they're abnormal. Third, watch for clusters. Never trust one signal alone. Look for 3 or more cues pointing in the same direction. A flat voice, closed posture, and short answers together may suggest discomfort. A brighter voice, leaning forward, and detailed answers together may suggest interest. A long pause, face tension, and over-explanation together may suggest pressure. Fourth, connect cues to triggers. Ask what happened right before the shift. Did you mention a name, a price, a memory, a deadline, a question, a compliment, a criticism? The trigger reveals the meaning of the cue. Fifth, test gently. Do not accuse. Reflect. That topic seems important. You sounded unsure when we reached that part. I may be wrong, but it feels like there is more behind this. People often reveal more when they feel seen, not attacked. Sixth, remember your own bias. You do not see people perfectly. You see them through your own fears, hopes, wounds, and expectations. If you fear rejection, you may interpret distance as dislike. If you have been betrayed, you may interpret privacy as dishonesty. If you want someone to like you, you may interpret politeness as affection. Reading others requires first reading yourself. The cleaner your own mind becomes, the clearer other people become. There is a mystical quality to this, not because it is supernatural, but because attention itself feels sacred. When you truly observe someone, you begin to see how much is hidden in plain sight, the tremble beneath confidence, the loneliness beneath humor, the fear beneath control, the tenderness beneath silence, the hope beneath hesitation. People are not puzzles to solve. They are stories to understand, and every story leaves clues. The way someone speaks about their past reveals what still owns them. The way someone treats people who cannot benefit them reveals their character. The way someone responds to boundaries reveals their maturity. The way someone handles your success reveals their security. The way someone behaves when they are disappointed reveals their emotional discipline. The way someone apologizes reveals their relationship with ego. The way someone listens reveals how much space they can make for another human being. You do not need magic to see these things. You need attention, but there is one final warning. The more you learn to read people, the more responsible you become, because insight can become arrogance. Observation can become suspicion. Awareness can become control. Do not become the person who turns every conversation into an interrogation. Do not become the person who thinks every movement has a secret meaning. Do not become addicted to decoding people instead of connecting with them. The highest form of reading someone's mind is not catching them. It understands them. Sometimes the person in front of you is not hiding a lie. They are hiding pain. Sometimes they are not being cold. They are afraid of needing you. Sometimes they are not avoiding the truth. They are not ready to face it. Sometimes they do not need you to expose them. They need you to create enough safety for honesty to appear. That is where psychology becomes wisdom. So the next time someone says, "I'm fine," do not only hear the words. Listen to the voice. Watch the shoulders. Notice the breath, see the eyes, feel the pause, and instead of rushing to believe or accuse, simply ask yourself, does the whole person agree with the sentence? Because the truth is rarely hidden in one place. It is scattered across the body. It hides in the silence before the answer. It trembles in the voice. It flickers in the eyes. It appears in the hands. It moves through posture. It lives in patterns, and when you learn to see the pattern, people become less mysterious. Not because you can control them, not because you can read every thought, but because you can finally hear the language they have been speaking all along. The language beneath words, the language of emotion, the language of the human mind. And perhaps the greatest secret is this: when you learn to read others with compassion, you also begin to read yourself. You notice your own defenses, your own pauses, your own masks, your own nervous laughter, your own need to be understood without having to explain everything, and in that moment, psychology stops being a trick. It becomes a mirror that shows you that every human being is carrying a hidden world. Some are carrying fear, some are carrying love, some are carrying guilt, some are carrying dreams they are too afraid to say out loud. Some are carrying wounds disguised as confidence, and some are silently hoping that someone, somewhere, will look beyond their words and understand what they could never say. So no, you cannot read minds like a fantasy, but you can learn to read behavior. You can learn to read emotion. You can learn to read silence. You can learn to notice what changes, what repeats, what disappears, and what does not match. And when you do, you will begin to see what most people miss, because most people listen only to the sentence, but the truth speaks in the space around it, and those who learn to listen there understand people on a completely different level.